What's up, everybody? It is time for our first ever 5-minute book review. So for a little while ago, I posted a review of the Screwtape Letters that has gotten some pretty good feedback, but it's kind of a long video, so we're going to try and do some other book reviews as I read different books and things like that, but keep it in 5 minutes or less. And so today what we're going to be reviewing is A Rebel's Manifesto by Dr. Sean McDowell. Basically, what we're going to talk about is who this book is written for, main takeaways from the book, and why or why not you should read it. So let's go ahead and get started. So The Rebel's Manifesto, evidently there was a previous edition written back in the early 2000s, and so this is like a newer version. I'm not sure if it's the same title or not, but this book, the subheading is Choosing Truth, Real Justice, and Love Amid the Noise of Today's World. And so that's what basically this whole book talks about. It's mostly geared towards teens. I would say teenagers, middle school, high school, and I think even college students would find this book really useful. Even adults would find this book really useful because it basically takes the main issues in culture, like how to interact with smartphones, some of our relationships, racism, ethics, abortion, assisted suicide. He talks about all of those things and kind of the main hot button issues that kids are facing today in schools and in conversations with their peers and their friends. He addresses those issues in a way that makes sense. He breaks it down. It's not so simplistic that it kind of feels like he might be talking to a little kid. It's complex enough for even an adult to be engaged and understand what he is saying and be able to apply it, but not so simplistic that you can't track because you're talking to a 2-year-old. So, but it's not so complicated that teenagers and middle schoolers, 12 and 13-year-olds, won't be able to understand it. One of the things that I really like about this book is that he does explain some of the philosophies behind some of these cultural issues that we're facing. He talks a lot about naturalism and how naturalism kind of has influenced a lot of mainstream media, science, education, all of those things, and how that worldview, like what that worldview looks like, and then how it affects us in our day-to-day life, and how it affects them, how they interact with each other on social media, and all of those things. And I really like that he explains it well and addresses those things. He also talks about different philosophies, not just naturalism. He talks about individualism, pantheism, and explains what those mean in a way that a teenager would be able to understand it, and then also be able to point out different circumstances in their day-to-day life where that they see that philosophy in action. So I really, really like that. But the main thing that I have to say about this book is that if you and your family and your church, your youth group, small groups, whatever, affirm biblical Christianity and affirm what the Bible teaches regarding issues of culture, race, hot button political topics, then you will likely enjoy this book, reading this book. It also, at the end of each chapter, gives you applicable steps in day-to-day life that you can take. It also gives you kind of a guide for having these tough conversations with your friends, your coworkers, and things like that. And for me, as an adult in a work setting, it's helpful to have kind of a guide to how to start these conversations so that they don't turn into debates and arguments, because that has become a lost art in our culture. So, The Rebel's Manifesto, if you have teenagers, if you have college students, young adults, they need this book. If you're an adult, you need this book. And if you have trouble navigating those conversations or finding the courage or having just the basic logic and critical thinking to address these issues, not even talking about the biblical part of it, but just following basic logic and reasoning, he does that a lot and then interleaves the Bible into the basic logic in those conversations. So I would highly recommend A Rebel's Manifesto. It hits all the hot button topics and gives you, your teenagers, your kids, your small group encouragement and challenges you to engage with those issues on a day-to-day basis and steps that you can actually take. But the first step that he usually gives for every issue, whether it's abortion, whether it's racism, whether it's suicide, whether it's smartphones, whether it's ethics, morality, porn, all of that, he addresses it first. The first step that you should take if you are engaging in these behaviors or know somebody who is prayer and repentance and finding an adult that you can trust to talk to, which I really love, that we're focusing not so much on the behavior change right off the bat, but the heart change, because where our hearts is, that's what we end up doing. So, Rebel's Manifesto, 10 out of 10 recommend. You need to go check this out, and I believe Lifeway is going to have a Bible study, like a study guide with videos and stuff coming out very soon for this, so be sure to check it out if you're interested in doing it with your small groups at church. So, 5-minute book review. We made it. See you guys soon.